LVMH just came out and officially announced the revival of the Daniel Roth brand. And as I had predicted on this channel, as we have previously discussed as well as part of a conversation with Bill Sanders of the Watch Art Side channel, it is the Tourbillon, which they're offering in a limited run of 20 subscription pieces. Let's talk about why this is so important and why one should care about it at all, both from the historical perspective of Daniel Roth as a brand and in terms of what it proposes horologically for the present time. So this is the piece as La Fabrique du Temps under the auspices of Louis Vuitton has just presented. But let's talk a little bit about Daniel Roth first. This is the C187. It's very important for a number of reasons. One, of course, Daniel Roth, with the work he did for the revival of Breguet as a brand, has been horologically and from a design point of view extremely important for how we understand haute horlogerie today, what we make of high horology today. And when he struck out on his own path in 1988, he also, in so many ways, both in terms of the aesthetics and in terms of his artisanship and horological craft, laid down the groundwork for the modern independence for all the independent watchmakers that we respect so much today, that the market values so highly in our day. When Daniel Roth became an independent watchmaker, when he established his own brand in 1988, it was not only uncommon to do so, it was in many ways unimaginable. And one of the things that he insisted on, one of the principles that he adopted as the motto of his brand was La montre objet d'art, the watch as an artistic object, as a presentation of the highest quality of materials, the finest craftsmanship, as well as the utmost technical innovation to be worn on the wrist. This is something that he brought to bear, of course, with the very unique case design, the ellipsocurvex shape, the double ellipsis. And this is something that he also exemplified in terms of the minimalist, but very elegant and striking decoration of his dials, which took elements of the recipe that he had established and perfected with his work at Breguet and presented it with his unique personal touch, as you can see here. This is the C187, and the example you see here, of course, has the pinstripe or gadroon guilloche decoration that has become more commonly associated with Daniel Roth's aesthetics. That being said, he had also produced examples that had the more classical Claude Paris or hobnail decoration, an example of which you can see here in yellow gold. There are a couple of distinctive things about the C187, which is not necessarily replicated here. It is something that Daniel Roth called Regulateur Tourbillon, a tourbillon regulator, which uses the tourbillon cage with a unique triple seconds hand, also as an indicator of seconds. And it actually has a pointer date indicator on the case back, as well as a power reserve indicator, and the same sort of minimalist, austere, but stunningly elegant beauty is represented in the decoration of that secondary dial as well. This is an advertisement from that time period for the Italian market. And of course, it's important to note here as well that before he had to leave Breguet, Daniel Roth was already working on the tourbillon wristwatch for Breguet, and it was at the time a unique concept. Of course, tourbillon wristwatches more recently, especially in the 21st century, have become some kind of rite of initiation for any new watchmaker who is trying to make a statement, put a stamp on their name. But at that time, it was a unique implementation of the concept, and Daniel Roth had everything to do with it, both for Breguet and as part of his independent brand. And you see this particular example also has the hobnail decoration, which is much more rare. And what is even more rare, and what perhaps we can aesthetically appreciate about the new tourbillon that Louis Vuitton is releasing through La Fabrique du Temps, is the fact that they replicated this rare dial decoration also in yellow gold, which is almost a unicorn when it comes to these particular pieces, which were, of course, produced in a very limited quantity, and more strikingly, also in a limited run of 25 pieces for the London-based and esteemed retailer Asprey. So in many ways, today's version, the Tourbillon Souscription, takes as its inspiration not only the C187 that we have just looked at in various examples, but also specifically the 25-piece limited run that Daniel Roth produced for Asprey's of London. You can see that the lugs are a little more contoured, perhaps to improve the ergonomics of the case, but that's already one of the strong suits of the Ellipser Curvex design. The layout of the dial that highlights the tourbillon cage is preserved with an updated typography, both for the inscriptions as well as the Roman numerals and the Arabic numerals. The triple seconds hand is also preserved, which indicates the seconds on this triple fan designed second scale. And the tourbillon sits on this plate that has a beautiful frosted decoration, and it is also flanked by plates that bear the Côte de Genève decoration as well. Of course, all the scales and plates, as well as the hour track, are results of Breguet frosting, accentuated by a beautiful shade of deep blue. The dial itself, of course, is produced from a yellow gold blank. And of course, this was exactly how Daniel Roth had reimagined Breguet and implemented in his own brand as well. Gold blank dials, decorated in the finest, most exquisite way possible through the time-honored method of hand guilloche. They have also redesigned the crown and gave it resonance with the elliptical case shape. Here's a close-up of those frosted scales and a better view of the new fonts for both the inscriptions and the numerals. Here's a close-up of the tourbillon cage. The movement itself is designed and conceived from scratch within La Fabrique du Temps, DR001. And it's not only finished to the highest standards of high horology that we expect today, it also doubles up in this hand-wound caliber, the power reserve to from 40 hours to 80 hours. Let's take a look at the website, which gives us a better glimpse of what they're up to in terms of this new initiative. Of course, this was a limited run of 20 pieces, which is by definition very exclusive. But clearly, they are going to do much more with the brand. And as as far as I could tell from the history section, the new Daniel Roth brand will not be limited to Omni subscription pieces, because there is this touching interview that they conducted with Daniel Roth, which I would highly recommend, where he goes through some of the most representative and some of the iconic models that he devised and released under his own name. And towards the end, he also says, of course, I appreciate when anything that I created comes back. So it's very exciting news. And I really respect the fact that they at least brought Daniel Roth on board in this symbolic manner. At least they gave him a voice, a part in presenting on the importance of this brand, on the aesthetic and horological significance of Daniel Roth watches. And I hope this will be a way of reaching a wider public than the lucky new owners of the subscription watch, which is again limited to 20 pieces ever produced and priced at a princely sum of 140,000 in Swiss francs before taxes. Thank you for watching this video. If you have liked it, please hit the upvote button, subscribe, and stay tuned for further content on our shared passion for wristwatches.